question 1347. We're going to find out the number of minimum steps to make two strings in Anagram. If you are not familiar with the question, let's say we had a string Albert, my name, and we had a string Trouble, the backwards of Albert. These two are anagrams because they share the same number of characters, but they're just in different order, right? Let's say we had one A there, then we know that we need to change that A to an E, so just one step is required. How do we know that? We know that by doing subtraction, basically comparing the number of characters there. So we're getting the difference. And if a character doesn't exist, then we would count that, right? Like, oh, okay, A doesn't exist in Albert. We need to count, okay, there's one step we need to take there. So that's a naive way of looking at it, or I mean the general way of looking at it. Excuse me, I had Korean barbecue for lunch. Whew, okay, so the time complexity of this would be big O of n because we're creating a dictionary. So there's two ways to approach this in my opinion. One is to use the counter class. So if you're not familiar with the counter class, let me talk about it a little bit. From the collections library, we're going to import counter. And then we are going to create two counter objects, subtract them, store that into a different counter object, and then basically sum up the values. So what do I mean by that? Let's say we had a counter object, and just to show you what a counter object is, I'm going to say that it's Albert, and we have, let's say S1 equals Trebla. Okay, let's create collections. Let's say counter 1 equals counter S. We're passing it an iterable. Let's do that later. So we're going to do C2, another counter object. We're going to pass it S1. All right, so we have two counter objects. A counter object is a subclass of a dictionary. Well, counter is a subclass of dictionary. So counter is an object of itself, but it inherits a lot of behaviors of the dictionary. So if we print out C1, we'll see that, oh, we have our keys and values there. And you might notice that the counts are also there as well. The neat thing about counters is that it doesn't store zero, so it won't throw a key error. If it doesn't see it, it'll throw a 0. So if you do C2 10, it'll throw a 0. Doesn't exist, doesn't matter, we'll send a 0. In that way, it's sort of like a default dict, right? It behaves like that a little way. But the cool thing is that we can do mathematical operations like C1 minus C2, and we can get, oh, there's one difference of E, and we can do the vice versa, and we'll see a different character instead, and we'll have A. So counter is really neat, and we're going to create two counter objects. That's counter T, right? So we have two dictionary objects, and we're going to store C1 minus C2 in another counter object, and then we're going to return C2.values, right? But that itself would return a list of values, right? So we want to sum up every item in that list and return that. So if we do that, we will see that it works just fine. Cool. So another way to do this is by using storing everything in one dictionary and then going to the other string and sort of decrementing every time you see a character that isn't 0. And then otherwise, if you have never seen that character before, we're going to say that, oh, there's another step taken. So let's say we need let's do steps as our results. We're going to create a dictionary. That's not going to work. We're going to do D is a dictionary, and we're going to say for character in S, if character if character is in the dictionary, that means we've seen it before, there's a count of it, then we are going to increment the count. Else we are going to say that dcar equals 1. And you know what? Actually, we're going to use the default dict here and store it int. And the reason why is because let's say we iterate through this dictionary with another string, and we see a key that we haven't seen before. The value is going to be 0. We want to count that. So and we don't want a key error. So we're going to do that. Okay. So int is going to automatically default never seen keys to zeros. We're going to iterate again and just be like car2 in t, right? Iterating to t now. If the dictionary car2 is there. By the way, if it's 0, it's not going to enter this if, right? So if it's 1, negative, it should see it. But otherwise, if it's 0, it's not. So if it's not there, we should increment it. If we see a character that's not already there, then we're going to increment steps, right? We have steps up here. We're going to increment that because we've never seen this character before. But otherwise, if we did see that character and it's, let's say it's greater than 0, then we're going to decrement it by 1. Excuse me. Yeah. So if we've seen it, decrement it. If we didn't, increase the steps. And then we'll return steps. And this is similar to, oh, this didn't work. Why didn't it work? Expected 0, but we got 6. Steps 0, D equals default dict, and for character and S, for character, so D, we're going to increment that. Otherwise, we set to 1, that's fine. Now we're going to T for each, damn it. Run. Okay, nice. Yeah, I had to change that. So again, if it's there, it's greater than 0, then we decrement it. Otherwise, we say, oh, we need to change this number of steps. So thanks for watching. Any questions, comment down below. Thanks. Bye.